So the half-time whistle sounds with a scoreline that literally nobody predicted. Even the most optimistic United fan didn't predict. Alejandro Garnacho pouncing on an error, a ball forward which Guardiola descended on with Ortega coming at him at speed. He nudged it over the top of Ortega and Garnacho hit it into the empty net. And then another excellent counter-attack. Ball played out to Garnacho. He crossed it in and Mainoo tucked it in. And City have barely offered anything, even though they've dominated possession. And so at half-time in the 2024 FA Cup final, the Blues have it all to do. It's City 0, United 2. Well, quite extraordinary events here at Wembley. Literally nobody had predicted this. In fact, most had predicted it would be 2-0 at half-time to the Blues, but the reality is that underdogs with quality, with players who can hurt you, have always got a fighting chance. Like a heavyweight boxer throwing a few haymakers, you are never out of a contest when you have the likes of Garnacho and Fernandez and, in this case, Mainoo. City have been in control of the ball, they've dominated possession, they've looked the better team in terms of their control of the match, but United have looked a bit more threatening, and other than really a Bernardo Silva shot from distance, they haven't really tested Onana. A half-time scoreline that you have to say is credit to United's game plan, their manager and their players. It is City 0, United 2. Well, in a moment I'll be throwing down to Pitchside, where I can see Natalie and Paul Dickoff and Sean Gota are all gathered, just waiting for the microphones to get plugged in. So City, in truth, haven't threatened enough. They've got to the areas that matter, they've got to the final third, they've looked in control of things, but United have defended the spaces superbly well. And City just haven't had the likes of De Bruyne and Foden at their best at all. And when United have had the ball, they've looked for that quick ball over the top. A couple of times it's worked for them, and on the two occasions that it worked most devastatingly, they have scored. One from an error between Guardiola and Ortega, the other a really good move, an incisive move as well. And Garnacho, the goal scorer of the first, set up Mainoo for the second. So City 0, United 2 in the 2024 FA Cup final. The reality is that City have never lost against United on a neutral venue in the FA Cup. They've met them in a semi-final, they've met them in a final, and they've won them all on neutral venues in the past. In fact, in one semi-final, it was played at Bramall Lane, and City won that one as well. So the history will make you know that City have got the edge over United in these one-off games in the FA Cup. But, the truth is that from the very first blast of the whistle, you could see what United were trying to do. They were trying to get that ball up to Rashford down the left or Garnacho down the right and just go at City down the sides. And once or twice Rashford has got close, but Walker has got there first. Once or twice it hasn't got to a City player, mainly down the other side, where the reality has been that Guardiola had been advancing down the left, and Garnacho got away from Guardiola to set up the second goal, and also, of course, Guardiola headed it over the top of Ortega as well. So those two errors have given City a genuine problem. OK, well, they're now ready for us down at Pitchside, so let's join Natalie, Paul Dickoff and Sean Gota.
So it's half-time in the FA Cup final, and City are currently losing 2-0. But fear not, because I'd just like to take the chance to remind you of another game that we were 2-0 down in at Wembley. And then I look to my left and see Sean Gota and Paul Dickoff, and remember that City only need a matter of minutes to score 2 goals. And then, of course, as well, just remind you, Manchester United were 3-0 up when they played Coventry in the semi-final, and that went to 3-3, should have been 4-3. So Not to panic yet. There's a full 45 minutes of football to go. But, Paul, what's gone wrong in that first half?
Look, we dominated the game as we do. You've got to give United credit. You know, they've set up with Amrabat, Mainoo in there. They've made it really difficult to break them down. But we knew they were going to try and hit us in the break. You know, and they've done it a couple of times. There was one in the early doors, first couple of minutes, and Marcus Rashford got put in behind, and Kyle's pace got us out of it. But look, bitterly disappointing half. Dominating without really creating any chances, you know, and United, you've got to say, deservedly 2-0 up.
Sure, why have we been particularly shaky at the back today? What have you made of that?
Well, I think certainly with the first goal, it was just a bit of miscommunication, and I think Guardiola's perhaps got it under control. Guardiola's got it under control, but he doesn't probably see that the keeper's advancing. So whilst he's thinking he's heading it back to the keeper, our keepers come out, and therefore it leaves it with an empty net. So that there's a little bit about communication. And also with that particular goal, Fernandez has given a quality ball sort of over the top, so he's allowed that little bit of time to find that pass. I would say Fernandez's pass for Mainoo's goal, I think, was an exceptional pass. It was really good, because when he receives it, we're thinking he could actually shoot, as I'm just seeing it up on the screen here. That he could shoot, but he just flicks it around the corner to Mainoo, who is goal side on the right position on the other side of Walker, who puts it in. So from their second goal was certainly a really good goal. For me, I think that it was always a possibility that United could show up because there was no pressure. And I always felt that it was a case of, in the first 20-25 minutes, it was important for us to go ahead. But as you say, our team are very, very exceptional at being able to not only score a goal, but score 2, 3, or even 4. So I wouldn't push your panic buttons too early.
Yeah, I was pointing as we were seeing the goals on the screens inside Wembley. We haven't had the benefit of replays yet, so we were seeing those goals there again for the first time. Something happened though in the first couple of minutes. Again, we've not had the benefit of a replay, but within 2 minutes there was a good shout. Certainly Pep Guardiola was going crazy on the touchline for a push on Erling Haaland. Did you see it, and what was your instant reaction?
From where we were sitting, it looked a definite penalty. Any ref's not give it. Me and Sean are saying, if go to VAR, he's got to give it. And one of the main reasons for that is, I know we've only seen it live, we've not seen the replays back. Erling's going to head the ball in the net, so he's not going to. He's not going to dive, you know. And he's come in as he's jumping, he's getting ready to head it. It looks as if he's been barged in the back. So, as I said, we've not seen it again, but it looked a definite penalty. And I think everybody around was really surprised it wasn't given.
Interesting, they've not shown that on the highlights either, which sometimes I think they don't do because they don't want to rile people up. But we'll look forward to seeing that one again. So United opened the scoring in the 30th minute. But before that, Paul, we had seen glimmers of City looking not as solid as usual at the back. Are you worried at all that perhaps they were feeling a little bit overconfident in the way they were knocking it round?
I wouldn't say overconfident. I just think there's the way we play is quite expansive, and sometimes we do leave ourselves a little bit open at the back. You know, we play with the high line. For the second goal, I think Josko, who's been absolutely fantastic, he's got to come out and engage Garnacho a little bit early. As soon as he takes his touch, he's got to do everything he can not to back into the box. As soon as you back into the box, you're causing yourself a big problem. And they have looked a threat on the counter-attack. It'll be interesting because the last 10-15 minutes just in front of us here, Jeremy Doku and Manu Akanji were warming up, and even when the half-time whistle went, they went on the pitch for 5 minutes, were warming up. So maybe Pep might be thinking of changing that a little bit, although very rarely does change at half-time. But the way they were warming up, it looks as if they've been told that they possibly could be going on.
So the first goal for Garnacho coming from a bit of a, is it fair to say, a communication error between Guardiola and Ortega? A mix-up. Guardiola's headed it out. How's that happened?
Well, Ortega's coming initially from his initial gut feeling. He's thinking he should come, but thinking about it, he shouldn't, because Guardiola's got control of it. Guardiola's in control. He's getting to it. He gets to it, and he's thinking he's heading it back. So that fraction of a second of a decision, it's slightly the wrong decision. Now, at the same time, I think as Guardiola's running back and he shoulders Garnacho, as he shoulders him as a 50-50, he should see that our keeper's come out. Once he sees he's come out, he should be then probably heading it away from goal to then give himself a chance to recover, because it's not an actual pass back. It's like heading it wide to get onto it to then clear it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What did you make of it, Paul? Communication error?
Yeah, a little bit of communication. You know, I think Sean's right. Once Stefan sees that Guardiola's in control of the situation, he can maybe just put the brakes on a little bit and back off to give because the margin of error then's a lot bigger. You know, if Josko heads it the way he does and Stefan backs off, he catches it quite comfortably. At the same time, Sean's bang on. You know, when you're in that position as a defender, not that we've been in it very often, you're told, you know, head it away from the goal if you possibly can. But look, we're talking about two players who have been absolutely exceptional, so we're not good. We can give them a little mistake every now and then.
Absolutely, yeah. Now, before the second goal came, United did have the ball in the back of the net again, but thankfully that one was ruled offside. And then the second goal coming from Mainoo, you mentioned it a little bit earlier, the ball from Fernandez, but again, we were just cut open at the back, which we rarely see from City.
Just another long ball over the top, you know, which they've obviously worked in it, because every time they get a little bit of time in the ball and there's no pressure on, they're just looking to hook it on, not necessarily pass it, they're just looking to hit areas in the wide areas to try and get us in the back foot. And then once Garnacho, as I said, once he gets one-on-one with Josko and Josko's backing off, it's so difficult as a defender. But Sean's right, you know, the ball inside, everybody thinks Fernandez is going to shoot, but you know, you've got to give credit where credit due. It was a fantastic little ball and a good finish by Mainoo. But you're right, you know, we're a little bit too open at the back, and I'm sure that'll get sorted at half-time.
And Mainoo, who's had a standout season for United as well.
Yeah, really matured. First half, he said, really, because you're thinking, okay, could this be a game that's overwhelming for him? But he's really stood up to the challenge, and not only that, he's going to step beyond. He's got himself on the score sheet, which shows you he's not even thinking defensively. He's actually getting himself up into the box, into that area where it matters to make a difference. So he's had a really good half. I think from City's point of view, it's about Fernandez, and when he has the ball, I think they've had a communication with Fernandez and the front players. Don't think, am I going to play it? I'm going to play it, because it's both. There was one time he got it. He just hooked it in the corner. And I didn't even think Rashford was anticipating it, but he just hooked it in the corner, and Rashford opens his legs and sort of tries to get onto it. So it's trying to nullify him having the time.
Before we go, let's just finish on a positive note. I said it before, 2-0 down you both were, and you came back. City have done it time and time again. QPR, Aston Villa, we were 2-0 down. We've got it in us. This team has got it in us to come back and win 3-2.
Absolutely they have. They've got it well within them to go and do it. You know, they're going to have to up the performance levels a little bit. There's no doubt we can do it.
We can do it, Blues. Believe, keep the faith. Think of all the times that we've done it before, and think how sweet it's going to be if we come back and win this 3-2. We'll be back here at full time, where hopefully we are watching Manchester City lift a trophy.
Well, welcome back. It is a position that literally nobody I spoke to had any anticipation of being, and that includes many neutrals I spoke to, lots of ex-players. None of them said that this would be the situation. City trailing at half-time by 2-0. Well, I'm going to give you lots of good statistics, and if you can carry on sending some good vibes, then the two might just help out, because City's record trailing 2-0 in recent years has been very good. Against RB Leipzig this season in the UEFA Champions League, they went in 2-0 down at half-time, won 3-2. I don't think you'll ever forget that game against Spurs at the Etihad when they were 2-0 down at half-time in January 23, came back and won 4-2. They trailed 2-0 at home to Crystal Palace, won 4-2. They trailed 3-1 at